wanted to leave because I wanted to change something with the way I was thinking and to kind of develop and open myself up. So this was my first motivation. I come from Tirana, I was always staying at my parents' place, always within the comfort zone. Food was always ready, everything was prepared. So I wanted to challenge myself and to see how it is to live by yourself. From the other side, I also was very curious to discover the education system in Europe, so I left basically for my studies 6 years ago. And I can say that there are a couple of similarities, but some things are different, there have been many challenges, but they have helped me to grow as a person, like personality-wise, but also professionally.
We have one slogan, Senegal slogan. It says Barça or Barsakh. It means I am going to Spain or I am dying. Because I'm here, I'm dying. I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing. I cannot buy shoes. I cannot. If you are young, I cannot get married. I cannot. Sometimes I have a problem to eat. A big family from 20-25 people, only one person work, and then they share because Africa is a community, and then that's why a lot of African people they want to go to Europe, and then they don't have economical opportunity in Africa. This one is a paradox because Africa is very rich continent. Why Africa is rich and people that are poor? I think Africa, what he needs, it's European civil consciousness, no European political consciousness. No, we need to have here a very strong civil society to change it.
In a way, the migration after 2010 is qualitatively and quantitatively different from what happened in the 90s and in 2000, but still Albanians are very open and very, keen to leave their country, to go somewhere else. The reasons are complex, but first of all, what is missing is the lack of trust, the lack of the perspective that they are not able to found in their country. So we have now a Ministry of Diaspora, which means that it's the time has come for the government, for the state, for Albanian state to see from a different perspective, in a more institutionalized way, the issue of diaspora and migration. We have a strategy on migration, but still the problems that has to do without migration are not on in the agenda of the state. More important and more significant challenge is the brain drain. We have a country without brain. Can you imagine our present and our future? So the most qualified, highly qualified people are leaving the country.
Certainly there is demand, right, for high-skilled work, and so the fact that Germany would put in place such policies to become attractive to this kind of work is understandable, and I think there's nothing wrong with it, except if it becomes really a one-way street only. To the extent that that high-skilled workers from the region are only coming to the EU, but then there is no circular migration involved, no going back, no reinvestment of the resources, of the skills, of the time and energy back into the countries from which they've left, then we are facing a problem.
Brain drain is really a big problem, and that's very hard to solve given that you really need to have developed the opportunity systems, the opportunity frameworks in Romania or other countries of origin to actually make remaining in those countries very accessible to people with high skills. And technology, in a sense, kind of undermines that as well. So we do see mobility of doctors not necessarily resettling in Western European countries, but traveling back and forth on weekends, doing extra work for higher wages. And I think the whole economy needs to be readapted to these new realities. And that would be a really strong, really difficult thing to solve.
Yes, many people emigrate for economic reasons or political reasons, but also many people, especially probably the younger generation, and maybe lots of the migration happening on the Balkans now is related to seeking for better quality of life. And when we talk about better quality of life, it's also related to better cities, better living conditions, housing, public spaces, social services like kindergartens, daycare and everything. So in this regard, urban planning can help. Also, like improvement in the urban environment could be really good and helpful for attracting foreign investments or local investments also. Which also helps in terms of economic development, more jobs, more opportunities. Even like seeing that the cities are changing gives hope to people, which is also an important psychological aspect probably of migration.
I don't think there's an easy solution to this, but I think one way of maybe dealing with the situation is to try to think about ways of offering something locally that Western European countries cannot offer to young people. And that can be something related to either technology, infrastructures, very easy legislation for setting up companies, offering the kind of freedom that you can offer and the opportunities that you can offer that other countries cannot, because they're more stratified, there's more competition on their labor market, there's not so much room for development. I think that's something that could maybe bring back those young, highly skilled people from Western Europe.
Has a role to play in making migration part of the conversation and of the policy process in which it engages with the Balkan countries. It has a role to play in bringing circular migration at the forefront of its concerns. It has a role to play, as we've discussed during the meeting, for instance, on helping the Balkan countries gather more reliable, credible data on who has left and how they can be used through Eurostat. It is definitely a clear issue where both sides have something at stake, and hopefully this can help the two sides cooperate parallel to the enlargement process as well, and strengthen their relationship and understand that they need each other because they are in the same boat at the end.